Alright guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about why I choose to play World of Warcraft and obviously classic TBC much more casually than I used to in the past, and why I think, in my humble opinion, it is the best way to play this game. I do understand why people play this game very competitively and very hardcore. Fair enough, go ahead and fill your boots, but you know, I'm just not about that life. And today I'm just going to be talking about why I play the game the way I want to play it. You know, I think there are video games out there that you can grind into oblivion, which I have done in the past in my life, and they remain quite challenging and fun no matter how long you grind them for. You know, competitive games like CSGO, League of Legends, Dota, and then Battle Royale games like Fortnite. And I think the reason why these games remain fun, despite people who have thousands of hours playing these games, is because it's PvP, which means the content itself is always changing because it is determined by the players. But obviously, this isn't really the case with World of Warcraft raiding. The content is much more static. Okay, you could argue that again, the content is determined by the players, even in a raiding environment, because every raid is slightly different, but let's be honest, it isn't that much different, okay? Because the tactics are going to be the same for every single boss when you do it on repeat. You know, the tactics don't change when you go back to doing a boss, and the more and more that you play the game, the more and more you are essentially repeating the content. And what inevitably happens when you repeat something is that you get bored of it, okay? I don't really need to go deeply into human psychology to, you know, analyse that. I think most of us kind of understand that, right? You eat your favourite chocolate bar too much, you will eventually get bored of it and go on to a different chocolate bar. Okay, for example, you know, the Lord of the Rings films are my favourite films, but I'm not going to watch those films every single day of my life because I know that will ruin the whole experience of watching the Lord of the Rings films. Instead, I choose to watch these films like once every couple of years, and I'm essentially taking the exact same approach to how I play TBC Classic, okay? I'm not quite logging into the game once a year, okay, but I am definitely taking my time this time round. For example, I've only started doing heroic dungeons this week. A lot of people were doing them on like the first, second week. I've only just started doing them. Okay, I've got a decent amount of Karazhan gear and crafted gear. I feel like, you know, I'm confident enough to do heroics now, and I'm slowly getting through them, and I'm enjoying myself. You know, heroic dungeons are really fun, and I'm experiencing the fun of heroic dungeons for the first time a month after the game has been released. I've only killed Magfarodons once, and Gruul's Lair and all that. Actually, I think I've done that raid twice. I still have Nightbane to do, so there's still actually raid bosses that I need to kill. I still have to do progression 1 month into the game, and I still need to start my Tempest Keep and SSC achievements. So I've still got quite a lot to do. I've intentionally not been grinding the Oblivion out of the game, like grinding heroics and normal dungeons for the badges, for the gear, and obviously, you know, for the reputation items, because there's nothing more soul draining and boring than, you know, farming the same dungeon over and over again but for a particular item that you then end up just replacing in a raid anyway. And the same goes for rep items. Okay, I know that grinding dungeons for rep would make me so bored of the game. Like, if I had grinded all reputations to Exalted to begin with to get those slightly better rep items, I would have burnt out very, very soon. Okay, because I'm not going to lie, I've done it quite a lot of times on private servers before, so I don't really need to do it again. Luckily, when you play Shadow Priest, you don't get insanely best in slot loot from reputation. The only one I really need is the lower city for Exalted, for obviously the Gavel. But honestly, I feel like I can just live without that because it's only a 20 spell power upgrade from another spell power mace that I have. I have friends who actually got bored of playing TBC about 3 weeks into the release of the game. They're already pretty much not much, you know, playing anymore, and they've gone back to retail for 9.1. Okay, imagine getting bored of TBC Classic after 2 to 3 weeks, right? Clearing all the raids, bing bam bosh, done, right, I'm going back to retail. Like, that, in my opinion, is not the way that you should be playing TBC Classic. You're not going to get the most fun out of the game by playing the game like that. Okay, this is why I think, you know, again, in my humble opinion, taking your time, sitting back and smelling the flowers is a much better approach. You're essentially staggering the gratification that you get from playing the game over a longer period of time. And I think what happens, right, when you have that, you know, tunnel vision grinding mindset to clear the content very, very quickly, get all your gear very, very quickly, is, you know, you very quickly join groups, and you won't like kind of take the time to be social because you're just trying to achieve a certain objective as fast as humanly possible. But if you're taking your time, then you don't, you're less antisocial. Like, you care less about achieving your end goal, and you kind of care more about being like playing the game more socially. And this is something that I have done much more this time round. I'm normally, quite a bit of a loner when I play World of Warcraft, if I'm going to be honest. But this time round, I've been pushing myself to basically just be a bit more chatty, be a bit more active, be a bit more social. I definitely have a lot to work on because I am, fairly antisocial and anxious person. But when I stop to think about it, I actually care more now about the friends that I've made in World of Warcraft than the actual game itself. And I think that is one of the very unique parts of playing an MMO. I think it's the heart of an MMO is the friends you make and the friends that you keep. Because let's say like TBC Classic doesn't progress into Wrath of the Lich King, I have made friends in the game right now, and we may go on to playing new games instead. And that's why I think I'm definitely enjoying my experience of playing the game much more this time round. Apart from all of that though, there's definitely a lot of in real life influences that have also changed how I'm playing TBC Classic. There's a lot of things that get in the way. For instance, basically in the UK we have barely any COVID restrictions anymore. They're basically non-existent. I can go to the gym, I can go and see my friends and everything like that. It's just something I would honestly much rather do than, be sat inside playing video games, especially during the summer. I know I probably sound like somebody's dad when I say that, but, I don't want to get old and then look back at my life and say, I should have been more active, I should have got out more, instead of playing video games too much. I think the most hardcore for a while anyway, that I've ever been in a video game is when the White Main private server launched. And I played a Rep Paladin, and I just non-stop played the game for about a month, and my character was just decked to the teeth in gear. But it was in the middle of the winter, during the height of COVID restrictions, and I think that obviously had a lot to do with the fact that I went so hardcore in a video game. But anyway, I'm going to end the video there, guys. I've got a lot more videos like this coming very soon throughout the week, so be sure to obviously subscribe so you do not miss those videos. But anyway, my name is MetaGoblin. To my next video, ciao.